In this section, we are going to cover how to manage the sales process through these steps: setting goals, planning the sales team, assessing sales performance, and finally, managing performance. At the beginning of each year, you will receive the total sales budget for your store. This budget is then divided into monthly targets, which take into consideration the different events that are planned for each month. What we want to do now is to break down this budget further into weekly and daily sales targets. This is to be able to communicate these targets with the store team and give them the daily and weekly sales goals to work on, which is also going to be tracked through the daily sales reports, which we are going to go through later in this course. In addition to the weekly and daily sales targets, we also want to set the sales KPIs for the team. These sales KPIs are ATV, UPT, and conversion. For more on those KPIs, please refer to the Retail Math course. While setting the daily and weekly targets, we need to take the following into consideration: the event calendar for the month, weekdays versus weekends, start and end of the month versus middle of the month, and store-specific trends. To explain this further, we cannot just divide the monthly target into equal daily targets because this will not be realistic. Sales typically are higher in the weekends and lower in the middle of the week. Sales typically are higher in the beginning and ending of the month because this is when salaries are paid out and typically customers spend more during this time, versus in the middle of the month, which is usually the lowest period in terms of sales. Also, based on the event's calendar, the days of the event itself will drive more traffic to the stores and consequently more sales. Finally, some stores will be outliers in terms of how their sales are trending. For example, you might have some stores where certain weekdays might be as high as the weekends, or some stores that could have a stable traffic and sales volume throughout the month, regardless of salary time. If you have these scenarios for some of your stores, then take this into consideration while setting their daily and weekly targets. To get an idea about the daily targets, we can use the data from last year as a reference to see how much different is a typical weekday sales performance versus a typical weekend is, and also to see how much daily sales did we make during a certain event last year. Based on that, we then go ahead and put our daily targets for this year. The main thing is that the total sales for the month for that store will be the same as the budgeted monthly sales that we have been given. Then we go ahead and communicate those targets with the team and move to the next step of planning our team based on those targets, which we are going to discuss in the next lesson. When we talk about planning the sales team, we mean scheduling the team in a way that will deliver our sales targets. This happens by answering those questions. How many people am I going to schedule for each day? How many people am I going to schedule for each shift? And who is going to be scheduled when? Scheduling the retail team should be more or less in line with the budgeted sales for the week, where the days with higher sales targets will have higher coverage on the sales floor, and the days with lower traffic and sales volume will have less coverage and will be ideal to give more of the days off for the team. But here, we also want to get more specific about how many people will be scheduled for each shift. Just like sales are not the same for all days, sales will also differ for different times of the day. For example, in some stores, sales will be more during the evening, and for other stores, sales are higher during morning shifts. We can easily find this out from our previous sales reports and plot down the trend of sales by hour. Then we can schedule our team to match those trends when it comes to how many people will be scheduled in each shift. The last consideration is who to schedule when. While everyone on the sales floor is expected to serve customers anyways, not all people on your team will have the same selling skills. People are good at different things. Some of them are good at visual merchandising, and others are very good at sales, and so on. Some team members will be new to the business, so they are still not too confident in their product knowledge and in selling the merchandise. We take all this into consideration while creating the schedule. For example, we can schedule our top selling people during the days and hours where there is the peak traffic, and schedule the newcomers during the time with less traffic so that they can get to learn more about the products and practice selling it. Then once we have finalized planning and scheduling, we move to the next step of assessing sales performance. When we analyze sales performance, we look at two things: the actual sales and KPIs numbers from the reports and the selling behaviors of the team on the sales floor. The daily sales report, also known as DSR, is a report that is generated with the following information: the sales of the day, the target of the day, the traffic that came to the store, the number of transactions, and also could be extended to a breakdown of sales by category. I'm going to leave a link to a sample DSR report in the attachment so you can see an example. Having these data out of the system, we can then structure our report to tell us how much budget achievement percentage for each day was, calculate the KPIs from the data, ATV, UPT, and conversion, sales contribution by category. We can also structure it to calculate week-to-date and month-to-date achievement, which tells us where we stand on the whole week and the whole month and even the whole year if we calculate year-to-date. The reason we want to look at the month-to-date performance, for example, is that when sales have been low so far, we might have a chance to catch up before the end of the month if we expect to have high traffic in the remaining days or in the final week of the month. In this case, we could revise our daily targets for the remaining days so that they would reflect how much we need to achieve each day to catch up with the lost sales so far. So now we will have the big picture that tells us where we stand in terms of sales achievement and KPI achievement. We can take these data and analyze them to find out the possible reasons behind non-performance. Let's see how combining the different numbers and KPIs can show us the performance picture. If sales are down, we look at the traffic that came to the store. Was it in line with the usual or expected traffic for this store for that particular day, or was it down due to some external reasons? If traffic was lower than usual for this day, then the main cause for poor sales performance is low traffic. If traffic was normal, however, we look further into the KPIs. Are the different KPIs in line with their respective targets, or are they lower? What are the KPIs trying to tell us? For example, if traffic was high but conversion was very low while ATV and UPT were normal, then this could signify either a shortage of staff on the floor, so a problem in scheduling. In other words, there was not enough coverage on the floor to serve all customers who entered, and hence a lot of them walked out without buying. Or it could signify bad customer service or wrong selling behaviors on the floor. And this is where the next part of the analysis comes in, and that is observation of selling behaviors on the floor by the floor managers for the respective sales teams. Are they applying the right behaviors they have been trained on? Are they touching as many customers as possible during rush time, or spending more time on one customer and ignoring the others? Observations will tell us the reason behind poor sales performance while traffic is being high enough. Another insight could come from ATV and UPT performance. If traffic was fine and conversion was on target, but these two KPIs were low, and that's why sales were low, it could signify that the sales team is not applying the different sales techniques such as upselling and cross-selling to add to the transaction. So in other words, they are closing many customers, but not closing higher value transactions by adding to the shopping basket. This too could be confirmed through observation on the sales floor. So based on the analysis of the different KPIs, together with floor observations, we can get an idea about what is causing low sales performance. Now we are going to see how to manage this performance on a weekly basis. Managing performance starts by identifying the actions that need to be taken based on our previous analysis and getting those actions done through our team. This could be in the form of an action plan for the week. This plan will tell us what needs to be done, and that's the action, and by when, and who will be responsible for following up on that action. Then it will be rolled out to the store team and reinforced through team briefings every day to remind the team of the focus for the week. The best practice here is to focus on one goal or KPI for the week and drive the sales team towards improving that particular KPI instead of giving a generic goal of improving sales by raising all KPIs at once or giving them multiple goals to work on. We can use the sales equation here to specify a KPI to work on and find out exactly how much we need to raise this KPI by to reach our sales target. For more on the calculation side, please refer to our retail math course. For example, we could set a goal to focus on ATV improvement for this week, then specify a specific number for the new ATV target. Then we define actions to be taken to improve ATV, for example, by upselling and suggesting add-ons, and specify a member of the management team to observe and follow up on the application of those techniques on the sales floor. We could even extend this goal for several weeks so that it becomes a habit for the team to apply those techniques, and then we can move on to another KPI focus or another goal. As you could see, observation plays an important role in identifying the cause of poor performance and ensuring that the right behaviors are being applied by the sales team on the floor. That's why another best practice is to create a schedule for the management team to act as floor leaders during the days. This could be in the form of segments, and each segment could be 2 hours. During the segment, the manager assigned will walk the floor to observe the selling behaviors and coach the team members if needed. Those segments could also have specific sales targets to see how the floor managers themselves are driving sales and KPIs during the respective segments. Then by the end of the week, we generate the reports again and analyze how we have improved in sales and the focus KPI, and based on the analysis formulate the plan for the next week. In the attachments, you will find the weekly and monthly planner that you could print and use to conduct your weekly and monthly sales meetings with your management team. Now we are going to explore the different sales techniques and their effects on sales KPIs. Sales could be increased by applying certain sales techniques on the sales floor. There are 3 main techniques used in retail to increase sales, and these are upselling, cross-selling, and suggesting add-ons. The main difference between upselling and cross-selling is that in upselling, the originally chosen product is dropped and replaced by another product of a higher value, while in cross-selling, the original product is kept and other relevant products are added to the transaction. Let's take an example from a beauty retail business. A customer walks in and asks for a specific shower gel and chooses to buy a small size bottle. The sales advisor can increase the sales amount in this transaction in 2 different ways. Using upselling, she can suggest that the customer takes the bigger bottle because this will be more cost-effective on the long run. Using cross-selling, she can suggest relevant products from other categories such as body lotions and body splashes for the customer to perform layering using the 3 products together. In both cases, the final amount of the transaction has been increased, but by using 2 different sales techniques. Upselling increases sales volume by increasing the average transaction value, while cross-selling improves sales by increasing both the average transaction value as well as units per transaction. Add-ons are products that are added to the transaction in the final stages before closing the sale. Usually, these are small products displayed at the cash counter to help the cashier or the salesperson in suggesting them to the customer right before billing. Add-ons can increase sales by increasing UPT and ATV. Making sure that the team is applying the sales techniques on a regular basis is key to successful retail sales management. A part of increasing sales at a retail store is the visual display of the items and how they can help customers find what they want easily. That's why visual merchandising is sometimes also called the silent salesperson, because when done correctly, it could guide the customer throughout the entire shopping journey from start to finish, whether through the ways the items are displayed or through the different marketing materials and signages on the sales floor. While analyzing sales performance, 3 reports can help us in improving visual display on the sales floor, and these are the sales mix or sales by category report, the best sellers report, and the zero sellers report. We can request these reports from the merchandising team on a weekly basis and sit and analyze them together with the visual manager for the store and then suggest some actions to improve sales through visual merchandising. The sales mix report will show us how much each product category is contributing to the total sales. This should more or less reflect the area of display assigned to this category. The best sellers report will show us the top selling SKUs in the store as a whole and also possibly in each product category. This can help us in displaying those particular items by highlighting them to customers through display and through signages that tell customers that these are best sellers. Also, we need to make sure that the best sellers are always in stock at our stores, so a regular follow-up on their stock level should be done, and in case of any shortages or issues in replenishment for those items, this should quickly be escalated to the merchandising team. The zero sellers report can potentially alarm us that some SKUs are not being displayed on the shop floor. So the first thing to do when you receive this report is to check if these items are on the floor or are they kept at the stockroom with no replenishment. If you find that they are being displayed on the floor, you can then coordinate with the visual merchandiser to highlight those items to help selling them. Using these reports together and being proactive by coordinating this way with the visual team can help us increase our sales through optimal visual display at the store. Another way to improve sales performance is by equipping the sales team with the right knowledge and training on the right skills and behaviors that, when applied, would lead to higher sales, which is going to be the topic of the next lesson. As we have seen throughout the last few lessons, a lot of the actions taken to increase sales depends on the sales team having the right knowledge and implementing the right behaviors. That's why a key pillar in sales management is the sales team training. Such training equips the team with the right knowledge they need to sell our products and also to standardize the customer experience at our stores. There are different types of training that any salesperson should go through, and these include onboarding training. This gives the person the initial knowledge that they need about the company itself and their future journey at the company. It usually also includes the SOP of the company and how to operate the different systems, for example, the cash register. Product knowledge training. This gives the salesperson the essential knowledge they need in order to be able to sell the company's products. It goes through all the product categories, the different products and their features and benefits, and the answers to different questions that might come from customers about the products and how to answer them. Sales training. This training focuses on the selling process the company implements on the sales floor, from the time the customer enters the store to the final closing of the sale at the cash register, and also training on how to deal with customer complaints. Such type of training also covers the different sales techniques used to improve sales and role plays to model those techniques. While everyone goes through these training sessions when they join the company, sometimes additional training needs to be given to reinforce the different behaviors or train on new products that have been introduced to the business. As a manager, you need to be able to assess such training needs within your team and decide what type of training your team needs and ask for organizing such training sessions from the respective training department at the company. Weekly and monthly analysis of sales reports and behavior observation on the floor will help us assess those training needs and identify which type of training will help improve the sales performance of our team. A best practice is to create a training calendar that specifies dates and sessions, as well as how many team members will be at each session. This is to organize the process and make sure that the areas of needed trainings are covered and that all the team members have gone through their needed trainings without affecting the coverage on the floor. Regularly training our teams not only helps us improve sales and customer experience at the store, but also helps in improving retention at the business, as it shows the team members that the business is investing in their own development. This brings us to the end of this course on sales management. Thank you very much, and see you next time.